Hello, fantasy freaks, and welcome back to another episode of All Things Larp. Today is episode 5, and we're going to be kicking off a new series I'm putting together called I Wish I Knew. Now, I Wish I Knew is going to be a series of videos, so I'm going to put each with 5 different tips, hints, comments, suggestions that would just not just for new players, but also for us veteran players who might hear something that we've never heard of, which happens all the time. This list will not just be myself, it'll also include other veteran players and newer players who came along in the last year or so and thought to themselves, I wish I knew this thing, I want to pass this on to somebody who might want to use it on their first day, or maybe somebody who's been doing it for 20 years, just never really thought about it from that perspective. Suggestions and comments you can throw down in the comments, or you can look us up on our Facebook, and there is a post on there. You can throw your thoughts into that post, and I'll be giving everybody credit with a little thing on the bottom that'll let you know who that person was, and everyone just doesn't think this is all my brainchild. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1, and this one works out really ironically, make a list. All right, this one comes from my buddy Damascus, who has a great suggestion and a great thought of making a list. Before you go to an event or you get yourself situated, you realize this LARP thing is something you want to do, and this works out great for veteran players too. Put yourself together a list of things you need before you go. Your weapons, garb, certain items you need for your garb, first aid kit, etc., 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 etc. Everything all the way across the board. Because you may be experienced, you may have been doing this for a long time, and there's always that feeling as soon as you walk out that door and you start driving that you forgot something. You can make yourself a list, check it twice, alright? Because when you get there, oh, why? Why did I do that? Oh, why? Why did I do that? It may be inconsequential to some people to even have just a basic list of items that you need could really prevent you a lot of headache when you get to an event or you're getting ready to set up and you realize you forgot small things from your mug that you can get through the day without it, or you might forget your ears, or you might forget a prosthetic that is incredibly important. You might not think that can happen, but it does. It happens all the time. I wear face makeup, and I didn't realize that one of my pens was broken, and I forgot. And I usually have backups, and I didn't bring them with me. So I forgot those things. So to have a list can really save you a lot of headaches when you get there, because if you're missing that one thing, you could be thinking about that the entire weekend, and it will completely throw you off. Number 2, sometimes fighting hurts. Now, I've heard this several times. People automatically believe because we're using foam swords made of latex, made of duct tape, that it's just a little whap and things, it'll be nice and simple. Now, I know a lot of games play a lightest touch fighting method. I am personally not used to that. I'm used to swinging away because it is foam, and can it cause damage? Yes. Normally, no. But fighting in general, especially if you're really in the thick of it, it can hurt. And you can ask anyone who's played Cash or an NPC, and they have 20 players around them just swinging and swinging and swinging, and some people don't realize that the harder you swing does not mean this thing is going to die. It is foam, but it's still a solid object and can cause some damage, especially in the colder months. I know the old duct tape ones we used to put together, those things, you start squeezing them, they can be like a lead pipe sometimes. And you can definitely feel it. So you have to be understanding when you go into this and you plan on doing any battle. If you're going to be a combatant in any way, it's going to hurt a little. It's going to sting. You get whacked in certain areas. Mistakes happen. Somebody hits you across the face. I haven't played a game yet where the face is legal, but it's going to happen. You will get whacked in the face, and you just have to get used to it. It's just, that's part of the game. Pain is a small part of the game. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying it is part of what can happen. Number 3 is going to be a twofer that comes from us from Tisha, who commented on the Facebook post. It has to do with bug spray and sunscreen. These are 2 things that I don't do, and I really, really should, and I wish I started doing it a long time ago, and it's my own stupidity and stubbornness. Bug spray, especially during this recent few years, ticks have been a real issue. So you want to make sure you cover yourself in that as much as you can, all your open areas, get yourself prepared, because that's the last thing you want. I know somebody years and years ago who got themselves Lyme disease while LARPing, and it's tragic, and they had some serious problems with it. And as for the sunscreen, that's one I particularly need to take care of, because chances are, even though you're in the woods, you will spend a lot of time in the sun. You're going to get burnt, especially if you wear a light amount of outfits. I know, like my wife likes to wear not cut off, but lower tops with the shoulders exposed, and she will get baked. My face gets covered, I end up looking like this. So, not the brown, that'd be really bad. The red. So I know that it can get really ugly. Make sure you bring yourself some sunscreen. It may not be something that you're going to think about on your first event, but believe me, you will thank yourself for remembering this. Number 4, bring appropriate sleeping gear. I laugh about this one because I know a couple events ago it was very cold at the game we play, and we're talking 32 degrees with rain. So it was very, very, very cold. And a lot of the newer players thought they're going to have a cabin and they're going to be alright. They brought a blanket, they brought a pillow, and they froze. A lot of them had to bring themselves to the tavern, which had heat. A lot of these games are very rustic. You get yourself a basic cabin, sometimes you have a tent, and you have to prepare yourself for your sleeping arrangements. Not getting even the smallest amount of comfortable sleep can really mess up the rest of your day and your weekend. You're going to just feel awful. You can have aches, pains, you'll feel tired all day long, and what you thought this weekend was going to be can completely be destroyed just by a few hours lost and a few hours of really uncomfortable cold, or in other cases, hot and sweaty sleep. Look ahead and prepare yourself for what the weather is going to be. Know your surroundings and make sure you have what you need, because you're going to need it, because you will be there. And the last tip for today comes from Delawin, right down the bottom there. And this has to do with when you first get a costume, wear it around the house before you go to an event. I know it's going to seem a little strange. You throw on your costume, you walk around. I've seen somebody jogging outside in their costume before. This may seem strange, but to go to an event in a costume that is uncomfortable, whether it's itchy, too tight, too loose in some cases, can really mess up your weekend. Sometimes you might lose weight and you might not know it. Sometimes you might gain weight and you may not know it. Sometimes you just don't know that that fabric is itchy on the inside. Just, oh God, I gotta do this all weekend. Put them on, wear them for as much as you can, stretch them out, get them broken in. Because whether you're an old or a new player going for the first time, you haven't experienced what it's like to be in these costumes for hours and hours and hours. They get hot, they get cold. Or if you're a more experienced player and you're switching up, you're changing things, maybe you change your character's costuming, their appearance, or maybe you're just playing a new character. Break those items in. Prepare yourself to be as comfortable as possible for when you go to this event, so you can maximize your time focusing on the game and not your outfit. And those are the 5 tips for today for I Wish I Knew. I'd really like to get as many thoughts as I can from the LARP community, from whether it's comments through Facebook or through YouTube. Really just pitch it. I'll give you credit for what you think, your hints, your suggestions, or even a rebuttal to maybe some of the suggestions that I've already put out. I'd like to get as many involved, because your thought, which you may not think may be important, may be able to save somebody else's weekend. So I would really like anyone else to just jump in and really share your experience with the community, because somebody out there will thank you for it. So once again, thank you for checking out All Things LARP. Your likes, comments, and sharing is really appreciated. And please remember, if you want to be involved, get involved.